Have you ever witnessed a moment so shocking, so impossible, that it changed a culture forever? A moment when an ancient tradition, older than most countries, was forced into a confrontation with modern technology? A moment where a sport powered by passion suddenly became dominated by machines. Well, that moment didn't happen in a movie. It wasn't part of a sci-fi novel. It didn't come from AI predictions. It happened in real life. In a place where the desert meets the future. In a place known for racing camels faster than the wind. And here's the twist. The camels stayed. The crowd stayed. But the humans? They were replaced. This is the extraordinary, emotional, and unbelievable story of the rise of the robot jockeys. Before the shock, before the headlines, before the robots, there was the desert. A vast ocean of sand stretching beyond the horizon, glowing gold under the morning sun. For centuries, nomadic tribes raced camels not for fame, not for money, but for honor. Camel racing was more than entertainment. It was a symbol of skill, bravery, and unity. A heritage passed down from father to son, from tribe to tribe. Imagine a time before skyscrapers, before drones, before smart cities. The desert was the stadium. The wind was the soundtrack. And the riders, often small, lightweight young boys, were the heart of the sport. People traveled for days to witness races. Families gathered. Elders told stories of legendary champions. Children dreamed of becoming riders themselves. Camel racing wasn't just a sport. It was identity. It was life. But every tradition, no matter how sacred, eventually faces a challenge. And that challenge was coming fast. As the world entered a new age, the spotlight turned toward the riders. Concerns began surfacing from health experts, human rights groups, and international organizations. The riders were small, sometimes too small. Lightweight jockeys made the camels run faster, but at a cost. Questions began to echo. Is this safe? Is this fair? What happens to these young riders? Suddenly, the sport was at the center of controversy. News agencies picked up the story. Documentaries exposed alarming details. Countries debated. Meetings were held behind closed doors. Racing officials were cornered by the international community. Something had to change, and it had to change immediately. Pressure was rising. The future of camel racing was hanging by a thread, and then came the decision. A decision that would shock the world. When the announcement came, it spread like wildfire. Human jockeys would be removed from the sport. Effective immediately, the desert fell silent. To riders who had dreamed of racing their entire lives, it felt like the end of their world. To families who depended on the sport, it felt like loss. To elders who treasured the tradition, it felt like betrayal. But at the same time, innovation was knocking at the door. Teams of engineers had been preparing for this moment. And when the humans stepped off the track, the robots stepped on. Small, lightweight mechanical jockeys, equipped with GPS trackers, programmable whips, wireless control systems, sensors that reacted faster than any human reflex. If human riders were emotion, robot riders were precision, and the world wasn't ready. The first race with robot jockeys felt surreal. Crowds didn't know whether to cheer or stare in shock. Even the camels seemed confused. And as the starting signal sounded, something extraordinary happened. The robots performed perfectly, every move calculated, every command instant. The camels ran faster than ever before. It wasn't just a race. It was a glimpse into the future. But progress always comes with pain. Young riders watched from the sidelines, tears hidden behind their hands. The animals they had trained with, bonded with, lived with, were now being guided by machines. Elders sat quietly, realizing that a chapter of their history had closed. Parents wondered what their children would dream of now. The sport had changed forever, in a single decision. Some embraced the change. Some resisted it with everything they had. Arguments broke out. Debates filled the media. Communities were torn in half. Is this still our tradition? They asked. Or have we given our sport away to technology? But slowly, acceptance grew. Because the truth became undeniable. The sport was now safer. The animals were treated better. And the races? They were more competitive than ever. The desert would never be the same. But perhaps, change wasn't the enemy. The robot jockeys sparked a technological revolution. Engineers improved the designs every year. Lighter, faster, smarter. Some robots even used AI algorithms to predict camel movements and optimize performance. Tracking systems monitored every step of the race. Data analytics shaped training sessions. Remote controls allowed handlers to adjust strategies live. The sport became a fusion of tradition and innovation. The past racing beside the future. Tourists from around the world visited to witness the incredible mix of history and robotics. News networks broadcast the races globally. The desert became a technological marvel. Technology didn't erase the sport. It elevated it, and soon, people realized something profound. Camel racing wasn't dying. It was evolving. Today, when the sun rises over the desert and the camels march to the starting line, the crowds still gather. The drums still beat. The cheers still echo. The only difference is who sits on the camel. The riders no longer have heartbeats. But the sport? It still does the SO now. A new question rises like dust beneath the racing hooves. If robots can replace human jockeys in one of the oldest traditions on Earth, what happens next? Which tradition, which job, which identity will be transformed by technology tomorrow? Because this isn't just a story about camels. It's a story about humanity, standing at the crossroads of the past and the future. And the future is riding faster than ever.